Okay, this is my final artwork and reflections, weeks 12 to 16, but minus 12 one. This is my week 13 artwork. Hmm.
Now come a soldier who carries a mighty sword. He will tear your city down. Olay, olay, alone. Olay, olay, olay.
You're on mute.
Oops. Okay, this is my week 14 artwork reflection. I wanted to make an artwork in a medieval setting. I used the worn glove, blood, vines, scars, armor, and the frostbite fingers to communicate the narrative. And I think I was pretty successful in communicating the narrative. This is my this is my artwork improvements for week 15. Okay. Uh, week 16, final reflection. My art has changed into something more detailed over the past 16 weeks. My favorite piece was week 11, Giant Snake, week 5, Walking in the Rain, and week 3, 13, the two hands. I improved on my shading technique. If I could tell myself at the start of the course, I would tell myself to commit to the ideas and go out on them. My plan is to continue making art after this course. Okay, this is my portfolio. This my artistic journey was one of improvement. I got better at shading and digital artwork in general. Uh, I like this one a lot because you can tell what the narrative I was trying to tell, and when you look at it, I really like this one a lot because because it's the one I went to deep into detail on Snake. This one, to me, this one was the most visual appeal. Okay, let me start. To me, this one has the most visual appeal. I really like the highlighting of the character. This one's my favorite. This project is less colorful and total mood change compared to my other artwork, but I really like it. And this one is the first piece I did. I also think it's my best one, but it's not my favorite. It has a story here that when you look at it, you can probably know what it's about. I'm very proud of this one, and I'm done.
All right, this is my final art presentation for artistic exploration. For my story, I did a story of how a star grows. So in this first picture, it's a bunch of dust and gas coming together and compressing. And then the second picture is, or painting, is the ProStar stage where it's all forming into a star. And then the third is the big red giant that it grows into from the heat, making it compress. And after keeps when it keeps compressing, it'll eventually grow into a big red giant, and then eventually it might grow into either a supernova or a black hole. For my reflection, the story I decided to tell was a story of how a star grows and what it grows into. The elements that I used were paint, sponges, and toothpicks to help convey the story of the painting. I feel like the I could have done more in conveying my artwork for the story, but I kind of just improvised and using with what I had. Um, this was my favorite piece out of the entire 16 weeks of my art exploration, and I refined it to add a little bit more to the butterfly to kind of make it seem as if it was sitting on a leaf. My art changed uh greatly. I can paint and draw better than when I first started. My favorite moments and pieces were these two. They they kind of grew more to me as I went along through the journey. The advice that I would give myself at the beginning of the course is probably to start early because I kind of get distracted a lot, and distractions are like my biggest enemy when I'm trying to focus on something. The skills and techniques that I improved on were definitely my shading and how to shade with more than just a pencil. And I plan on continuing my artistic journey by probably painting more than drawing. And that is it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so for week 13 elective, I have to do an art piece that tells some sort of story. So let's get right into it. Okay, so this is Nox. She's a character created on the spot and she has blue hair. She's basically a scholar and she goes around looking for books and ancient artifacts. One day she goes to her favorite library and she asks the librarian for any ancient artifacts or the oldest books that they have. The librarian directs her to the back and that's where she finds a glowing book. All of the other ones were either dusty or old and it didn't really call to her, except for that one. So she decides to pick it up and open it to see what's inside. And then that's where she sees a gem. The gem basically starts glowing and she starts falling out of the sky into a whole nother world. My favorite thing about this entire project has to be the first image. I like how you can see how marveled she is at the book and it's an ordinary glow that it gives off, and then when she opens it there's a book with scripture and a jewel, and when she falls out of the sky she's really confused. I just wish I could have done more with like the second image because it's kind of boring. Okay, well, it's not boring, it's just I wish I could have done more. I don't know. Okay, now it's time for week 15, or yeah, week 15. So, prepare final tutorial. Choose your first pieces from the course and refine them. You can rework areas you feel they need improvement or add finishing touches and present them professionally. So let's do this. Okay, so the art piece I'm going to be working on first is Astral Station. I presented this, I think, week 1 actually. So here we have them. The first thing that bugged me was how big the eyes are and also the hair shading. So I just went in with my Liquify tool and shrinked down the eyes how I like them and made them less large. And essentially made them look more, I guess, pleasing to how I think I'd make him look now, my boss, the creator and the owner of this character, asked me to recreate this in my current and his current design that I created for him. So I'm just deciding to use this as an excuse to figure out where I could start first. So first I decided to fix that awful hair shading by using a mixing brush and then using a darker color like I usually do to add the shading. And here's the before and after. I honestly can't tell a difference between the two. One of their hairs is brighter than the other, and one of their eyes is smaller than the other. I also made the afterwards more like the face shape more wider. Okay, so for the second art piece I'm gonna be revising, I suppose, has two individuals named Kiri and Kotz. The two of them are friends in like the fantasy world or whatever. I draw them quite a lot, but I decided to change their body types because Kiri's supposed to be taller than Kotz, and when I first drew this, I think Kotz was taller than Kiri. I also decided to change their clothing shading because the original shading was atrocious, so I had to redo that. Also, Kotz is supposed to be really angry and like grumpy all the time, and he is nice sometimes, but his expression wasn't what I was expecting for this one, so I decided to change it to more like of a pout, I suppose, in the future of this speed paint. I also tried to fix the way that the shading was because it was a little off. And it made the pants look green, and it was kind of gross. So I had to fix that up, as well as change their facial expressions and their structuring. I changed Kiri's structuring in the beginning, and now it's time for Kotz. I also brightened up Kotz's eye color, as you can see, and also tried to fix his pupils and gave him his bottom lip. And I also fixed his hair and tried to fix up Kiri a little bit here and there, and then added some shading to the belt because I noticed I didn't. And then I just looked around and decided to add some highlights and fix the way it looked, also largened them up a little bit more, and that's it. Now for my final presentation, I have to create a portfolio that includes my best works from the rest of the course and also include work for reflections and my journey as an artist. So let's get started. Okay, this is where I talk. So I've been doing art for like 8 years. I've chosen the artworks that I liked from the course that I did throughout the electives we did in the past. The things that I've used to make these all was my simple drawing tablet and my simple drawing pencil. I've gotten a lot better at anatomy and posing, and as well as the shading, because I also added, I think, an old drawing somewhere in here of my past shading. There it is. So I've definitely improved a lot. This was in 2023, I think. And I think I improved a lot from what I do now. And even like these on the screen isn't just these are old, so I've improved a lot more, like a way lot more in my opinion. So yeah.